Kunnaris. All right, who's going first?
I guess I am.
Okay.
I'm from northern Minnesota,
Could you introduce yourself, please?
of Marianne Kunnari, and we are from northern Minnesota and traveled down here for Dr. Burzynski. My son was 2.5 years old when he was diagnosed with a medulloblastoma. He had 75% removed surgically, and you're going to hear this, and you've heard it a lot. The standard of care was chemo with deferred radiation because at the age of 2.5, they couldn't radiate his brain until he was 3. And we know what radiation does to a small child. At the time, the St. Jude's was putting on a clinical trial of their own that Dustin would have been enrolled in, which included radiation or chemotherapy and radiation. I want to read the results of this study. Our experience demonstrates that medulloblastoma in infancy is a curable disease, albeit with significant cost. They never told in this St. Jude study, after 5 years, what happened to the children. My son would have, the best diagnosis that the oncologist told me was that he would be a vegetable, basically, and maybe live past 5 years. So we looked for something else. We found Dr. Burzynski. We did our research, and we went in with open, honest eye, and honestly, Dr. Burzynski was very honest. He told us if Dr. Dustin didn't respond within a few months, we could go somewhere else. My son is here with us today. He's 26 years old. His tumor was gone within 2 months on Dr. Burzynski's treatment. And I want to thank you very much for letting Dr. Burzynski continue to treat other patients. I would love for this treatment to be around for anybody in this room that ever has cancer, because it has saved my son's life, and he has had a full quality of life for 25 years, and we didn't expect him to live past the age of 3. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Jack Kunnari, Marianne's husband, Dustin's father, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'll follow up a little bit with what Marianne said in the standard of care. We were open-minded. We went to our university in Minnesota. We weren't given honest answers. I asked over and over and over to study and have the list of the chemo drugs he would be on. Tell me what the side effects were on. I asked for case studies. I asked for science. I said, do you have anything that we can establish there's some sort of cure? And one intern, and he literally hung his head like this, and he said, I can think of one child that did well for a while. Half the patients that were on the St. Jude study didn't respond. The other half, it doesn't say what happened after 5 years. And it says they all high mobility. We researched Dr. Burzynski's. We liked what it said. We thought, standard of care has nothing to offer. We're going to try Dr. Burzynski's treatment. He was very honest with us. He said, let's try for 6 weeks, let's see what happens. 6 weeks, the residual tumor was gone. We've since found out that the same chemo drugs that Dustin would have received were the same chemo drugs, cisplatin and Kristen and whatever else, the same drugs that we're using back in the 1970s. We have heads of FDA, we have heads of oncology saying these drugs don't work. They're not effective in treating brain tumors. This was documented by a family from San Diego. Alexander Horman was their son. Thomas DeMauro also had legislation written in his name asking to be put on Dr. Burzynski's treatment. About the same age as Dustin, same type tumor. Their only crime is they came about 1.5 years after Dustin came. The FDA stipulated they had to use standard of care treatment. They're not with us no more. By the time they got to Dr. Burzynski, and I don't know if the Horman boy ever did, they were dead. The cause of death in the Thomas DeMauro story was effects of chemotherapy. Makes me feel almost a little bit guilty that we can have our son. They lost theirs. I had a brother talk about the honesty of Dr. Burzynski. He was going through testicular cancer, and that brought up a question today. I asked Dr. Burzynski, what can you do for testicular cancer? He honestly said, not very good. He should probably do the chemotherapy or try other treatments. That's the honesty he had. If Dr. Burzynski were tried as to his character, his honesty, and if he was tried in the court of public opinion, this is a slam dunk. This man is reputable, his character speaks for itself, and I would ask, as a board, that you look with compassionate common sense at a doctor who's caring for patients. And shouldn't a medical board help a doctor along if he's maybe not dotting his I's and crossing his T's proper? But he is an honest man, he is a compassionate man, and he's curing cancer patients. Thank you so much.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Kunnari.
My name is Dustin Kunnari. These are my parents. I do remember some things from my experience with cancer. I was only 2.5 years old when I was diagnosed, but I remember seeing a lot of boys and girls who were my age come into Dr. Burzynski's clinic very, very, very sick. And I would be running around with anti-neoplastins working for me, and they would be unfortunate, like my dad said, and not get there before they were able to do, or they would have chemo, radiation, whatnot, standard of care before they came, and a lot of them didn't make it. And as a little boy, I was wondering to myself, well, why am I fine and they're not? I had cancer, and honestly, as a little boy and now a grown man, my experience through cancer really wasn't that bad. In this state, you guys have a doctor who's a genius. We were talking with him the other day. He said back in the 70s, he was given a $55,000 grant from President Nixon when he declared war on cancer. With that $55,000 grant, Dr. Burzynski said he did what he said he would do, and he found and developed a cure for cancer. And it's been working ever since I was a young boy and long before that. I would like to thank the board immensely for the ruling today. I appreciate that you're willing to give Dr. Burzynski a chance to prove himself again. And I would ask that as medical professionals, which I from northern Minnesota, I work as a paramedic, I understand how it is to have the ability to save a life. I've done it on several occasions myself. It's a fantastic opportunity. And I ask in the future if there's anything that comes up against Dr. Burzynski that we could do our best to help him. The board could help him in any way get his treatment approved. Because there's many, many kids with cancer, and adults and whoever, all of us in this room at some point may be affected by cancer. It's a fact of life. There's a man out there who cures cancer. He's right in your state. He's right in your backyard. Please do your best to help him. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's a happy, healthy 4-year-old who has outlived his prognosis. There is no traditional treatment that would have kept him alive with such good quality of life. FDA Commissioner David Kessler loves to grab headlines as a man who loves children so much. He wants to protect them from the ravages of smoking. If Dr. Kessler loves children so much, why have he and his agencies been trying so hard to cut off my son's last hope for life? Without this treatment, my son will die.